Hello there, welcome to the Sleepy Knowledge Channel. Tonight, you rest beneath an ancient canopy, the endless, velvet blanket of the cosmos. You feel the quiet weight of it above you, soft and deep, stitched with distant fires that shimmer like the slow breath of eternity. The world below drifts into shadow, and the air grows still, like the pause between one heartbeat and the next. You lie there, gazing upward, where time itself seems to slow, and the stars begin to whisper their gentle secrets. You imagine the night as a great ocean, wide, patient, and calm. Each star is a lantern afloat upon the surface, rocking gently with invisible waves of light. The sky feels alive, yet deeply asleep, breathing in silence that hums with quiet energy. Somewhere beyond your sight, galaxies turn like sleeping whales beneath dark waters, graceful and unhurried. The universe moves slowly here, wrapped in an infinite hush. As you gaze upward, the blackness of space no longer feels empty. It feels soft, like the lining of a dream. The darkness is not absence, but a kind of presence, a cradle for the glittering things that live within it. Between the stars, a quiet glow lingers, faint, scattered dust from creation's dawn. It drifts through the void like mist across a midnight lake. You breathe, and it feels as though the sky breathes with you. Somewhere, light from a distant star has been traveling for millions of years just to touch your eyes. It began long before your birth, perhaps before the first forests grew, before oceans found their tides. That light crossed unimaginable emptiness, passing by worlds and frozen moons, by comets that left trails of ice like silver sighs. And tonight, that light completes its long journey. It finds you, here, small, and wondrous beneath the blanket of the cosmos. You feel it then. That subtle connection between your still heart and the vast, star-strewn dark. It's as if every atom in your body remembers where it came from. The iron in your blood was forged in the death of stars. The calcium in your bones once floated through cosmic storms. The carbon in your breath was born in a distant sun. You are not separate from the sky above you. You are part of its quiet story. The stars don't rush. They burn gently, steadily, for billions of years. Their light doesn't flicker out of haste, but dances slowly through the trembling layers of the atmosphere. You can almost feel that rhythm, that patient heartbeat of the universe. It asks nothing of you. It simply reminds you to slow down, to rest, to breathe like starlight, calm, unhurried, eternal. As the night deepens, the air cools, and the Earth's warmth drifts upward. You imagine that warmth rising into space, joining the soft glow between stars. The ground beneath you feels steady, like a great sleeping creature, wrapped in its own cosmic quilt. Above you, the Milky Way spills across the heavens, a pale river of dust and dreams, winding endlessly. You drift with it, letting your mind float through constellations like a leaf upon still water. You trace shapes in the stars, like ancient dreamers once did. You can almost see the outlines they saw: hunters, serpents, queens, and winged horses, all frozen in light. These are the stories of the night, whispered by fire across ages. You imagine their voices carried through time, soft and warm, folding into the same sky you see now. The stars, patient and kind, have watched over countless sleepers before you, and they will watch long after you close your eyes. High above, the atmosphere fades into the thin edge of space, where the color drains from blue to indigo, and indigo to black. You picture yourself rising there, slowly, effortlessly, until the horizon curves beneath you like a crescent of light. From up there, the Earth seems wrapped in a fragile glow, a thin veil separating day from night. You drift in that balance, the gentle border between warmth and shadow. and you feel weightless like a whisper. The more you look, the more you see how the night sky is alive with motion. Stars drift, though so slowly that their dance spans centuries. Clouds of gas swirl where new suns are born. The universe is always breathing, expanding like a sleeping giant's chest. And yet, despite all this motion, there is peace. A stillness so deep it feels sacred. The kind of stillness that asks nothing but your quiet wonder. You imagine lying in a field long ago, when the world was young and silent. No cities, no lights, just the vast dark above and the soft murmur of wind through the grass. The stars would have been brighter then, almost close enough to touch. You picture ancient travelers navigating by their glow, guided by constellations that shimmered like gentle lanterns in an endless night. The same stars they saw now rest above you, steady and unchanged. Each flicker of starlight carries a memory of the universe's youth. Long before planets and oceans, before breath and bone, there was only the darkness, and the first stars igniting within it. That first light spread like a sigh through the void, pushing back the endless black. You can almost hear it, a faint hum, a vibration that still echoes through everything, through the air, the trees, and your quiet pulse. The night sky is that echo stretched across eternity. You imagine drifting higher, beyond the atmosphere, beyond the moon's soft pull. Down below, the earth turns slowly, glowing faintly blue. You see storms swirling like white petals, continents sleeping under veils of shadow. And beyond that, only the dark ocean of space, not frightening, but peaceful, infinite, serene. The stars above and the world below feel like reflections of each other, both shining, both alive, both endlessly turning. The sky doesn't end. It simply fades into more of itself. Every time you blink, another century passes somewhere out there. A star dies in silence. A new one is born in a burst of light. The universe dreams in cycles, creation and rest, birth and quiet, again and again. And as you breathe, you feel yourself as part of that rhythm. The night has no rush. It invites you to let go, to drift, to become as still as the space between stars. You let your thoughts float upward, lighter and lighter. Each one becomes a tiny point of light, drifting across your inner sky. You feel yourself dissolve into the cosmic hush, not lost, but gently expanded, like mist merging with morning air. The velvet night wraps around you once more, soft and endless, and the stars, with their ancient patience, continue to shine, not demanding to be seen, only offering their quiet light to anyone willing to look, to breathe, to dream. You lie beneath the quiet sky, where the air is cool and still, and the stars begin to wake. Their light flickers gently through the thin veil of atmosphere, like distant candles in an endless cathedral of dark. You watch them shimmer, not just as points of brightness, but as memories of a faraway past. Each one carries a story, traveling across the silent sea of time just to find you now. You breathe, and in that breath, you meet light that began its journey long before humankind had words for wonder. You imagine a single ray of starlight, leaving the surface of a distant sun. It rushes outward, crossing vast distances that defy all thought, distances where years stretch into centuries, and centuries dissolve into millennia. Along its way, it passes frozen worlds and drifting clouds of dust, weaving between the gravity of unseen planets. Sometimes it is scattered, sometimes absorbed, but a few precious particles continue forward. And after millions of years of patient travel, they touch your eye in a moment so delicate, so brief. It feels almost sacred. You realize that when you look at the stars, you are looking into history. The faintest glimmer might be 1,000 years old. Some may have died long ago, their fires extinguished, yet their light still travels, still shines. It's as though the universe refuses to forget them. The night sky becomes a memory quilt, woven from the ghosts of suns that once burned bright. You are seeing the past, not as a story, but as living light, still crossing the darkness to find you here. Each twinkle you see is born from the bending of air and time. The atmosphere trembles gently, shaping the light like ripples on water. It makes stars seem alive, breathing, blinking softly. You imagine them not as fiery furnaces of plasma, but as celestial hearts, pulsing across the universe. Their rhythm feels slow and steady, the kind of heartbeat that only eternity can keep. You wonder how something so far can still reach you, still feel intimate, like a whisper in the dark. The distance is unimaginable. Some stars are hundreds, others thousands of light years away. Yet, the light doesn't tire. It doesn't fade with loneliness. It continues faithfully through silence and cold, across the fabric of space. It has no destination, and yet, here you are, its final shore. The quiet observer it has been journeying toward for longer than your world has existed. Above you, the sky is a slow, burning ocean of time. Each sparkle is a wave crest frozen mid-motion, a glittering record of ancient energy. You imagine floating within it, drifting weightlessly through the currents of starlight. Around you, suns rise and fade in silence, painting invisible ripples in the cosmic dark. You begin to understand that nothing is ever truly gone. Its light lingers, stretching forward, touching new worlds, new eyes, new dreams. When you think of it, starlight is the universe's oldest message. It carries within it the signature of its source, the elements it was born from, the heat it once carried. Astronomers can read that light like a secret code, uncovering what the star is made of, how hot it burns, and how fast it moves away. But here, beneath the night, you don't need instruments or equations. You only need to feel the gentle truth of it. That light is a traveler, and tonight, you are its resting place. You close your eyes for a moment, and the darkness feels deeper than before. You can almost sense the starlight still moving, still flowing, even though you no longer see it. It drifts through your eyelids, through your thoughts like distant rain. You imagine the photons, each one older than every story ever told, brushing against you. They do not demand your attention. They simply arrive softly, after a journey longer than time itself. You think about how the light that touches you might have seen so much along the way. It passed through nebulae, where stars are born from clouds of gas and dust. It glided through regions where galaxies collided like slow, silent tides. It passed planets with ice rings, suns with twin companions, and black holes that bend space itself. The light remembers these places, carries their essence in its endless motion, until finally it reaches this quiet corner of the universe. This night, this breath, this you. The stars are not just far, they are vast in their lives. Some are so large that our sun would be a mere spark beside them. Others are so small that they burn softly for trillions of years, quiet embers of creation. The variety humbles you. There are blue stars that burn with fierce brilliance, and red ones that pulse slowly, like embers in a cosmic fireplace. Together they form constellations, patterns that humans have traced for thousands of years, connecting the dots into stories and shapes that still guide us home. You recall that the light you see tonight began long before humanity walked the earth. Before cities, before rivers carved their paths, before the first heartbeat of life. The universe was already sending its messages then, already filling the dark with gentle brightness. The same light that once touched the oceans before the first fish swam, now touches your skin, In its glow, you are connected not just to the stars, but to every moment that ever was. You feel it then? The strange calm that comes from realizing how small you are and how deeply you belong. The sky above isn't distant anymore. It feels like an extension of your own mind, stretching outward into infinity. The stars are thoughts, slow and bright, floating through the deep well of time. Their light doesn't rush. It wanders, meanders, drifts, and somehow, it always finds its way to you. You imagine your thoughts as tiny lights, leaving your mind and rising into the night. They join the ancient glow, mingling with the dust of the universe. Maybe somewhere they'll travel too, carried by the rhythm of time, drifting between worlds. The idea feels comforting, as if every dream, every memory, becomes part of that cosmic river of light. Nothing truly disappears. It just changes form, becomes energy, becomes part of the great story that stretches on without end. You open your eyes again, and the stars seem closer now. Their shimmer is slower, their color warmer. The night no longer feels cold or distant. It feels alive, breathing gently with you. Somewhere up there, suns are dying and being born, yet their light reaches you in perfect calm. You imagine each one as a small lantern, placed carefully in the dark by time itself. A gift for the quiet moments when your heart needs to remember how vast and how gentle the universe can be. You think about the way light bends when it passes near something massive. A star, a planet, a black hole. It curves around them like water flowing around a stone, changing its path, but not its purpose. Even gravity cannot destroy it. It only reshapes its journey. You find that comforting, that even in the presence of something powerful, light still finds a way through. It still reaches where it's meant to go, even if the road curves endlessly. You imagine the night as a vast tapestry, and you as a single thread woven through it. The stars above are other threads, old, enduring, radiant. Together they form something beautiful, something that no single strand could ever create alone. The fabric stretches forever, shimmering softly, and the pattern shifts as the earth turns beneath it. You realize that even though you can't see all of it, you are part of it. Your existence adds a quiet brightness of its own. The thought brings an easy warmth to your chest. The stars above are no longer distant fires but companions, gentle, steady, eternal. They have seen every age, every dawn, every creature that has ever looked up in wonder. And now, they see you too, resting beneath them, wrapped in their patient glow. You can almost feel them watching, not as silent observers, but as old friends, humming softly in the background of existence. The night deepens. The stars shimmer on. Somewhere, another ray of light begins its journey across the dark, from a newborn star that will burn for runes. Perhaps, one day, long after you have drifted into countless dreams, its light will reach this same sky. And someone, somewhere, will look up and see what you are seeing now. The ancient glow of distant stars, still traveling, still shining, still whispering softly through the quiet of the night. You sit beneath the slow glow of the moon, its silver light spilling softly across the quiet earth. The air feels different under its gaze, cooler, gentler, as though even time has slowed to listen. Clouds drift lazily around it, like whispers circling a lantern in the dark. You watch its pale face, so calm, so familiar, and yet impossibly distant. It feels less like a rock in the sky, and more like a companion, ancient, steady, softly watching over you. You imagine the moon as a quiet guardian of the night. It doesn't shine on its own. It borrows light, reflecting the sun's warmth with quiet grace. Its glow is a memory of daylight, transformed into something softer, more peaceful. It drapes the world in calm, turning edges to silver and shadows to silk. You can feel its pull, not just on the oceans, but somewhere deep within you. A subtle tug, a rhythm that hums beneath your thoughts. Far away, tides move because of this gentle presence. The moon's gravity lifts the oceans as though cradling them in invisible hands. Twice each day, the waters rise and fall, following the moon's steady call. You can imagine it now. Entire coastlines breathing in time with the sky. Waves swelling and sighing under its soft command. It's a rhythm older than any clock, older than any dream. The heartbeat of water answering to the pull of the heavens. You begin to wonder what it must feel like to be caught in that lunar current. To drift where the moon decides, to move where gravity gently guides. The thought is soothing, like surrendering to a tide you trust completely. The same force that lifts entire oceans touches the salt in your blood, the water in your cells. You are not separate from this cosmic rhythm. You are part of it, quietly swaying beneath the same silver influence. The moon has watched this planet for billions of years. It has seen mountains rise and crumble, forests bloom and vanish. Rivers carve their patient paths. It has seen every creature that ever lifted its eyes toward the night. Ancient fish emerging from the sea. Early humans tracing its shape in firelight. Its face has never changed, though countless lives have passed beneath it. Its craters and plains tell the story of a world shaped by time and silence. If you could walk there, the ground beneath your feet would be dust, fine and dry, untouched by wind or rain. Footprints would last for centuries, undisturbed by weather or sound. The sky above would be ink black, dotted with motionless stars. The earth would hang in the distance, glowing blue and white, turning slowly like a fragile marble in the dark. You imagine standing there, watching the world you came from drift across the void. The thought feels impossible and yet deeply peaceful, a reminder of how small and beautiful everything truly is. The moon is locked to us in perfect rhythm. It always shows the same face, turning with the earth in quiet harmony. Its far side, hidden from view, holds mysteries we've only recently begun to uncover. You imagine that hidden face, shadowed, silent, dusted with the scars of forgotten impacts. It feels like the dream side of the moon, the half that sleeps while the other watches. Together, they keep balance, one awake, one at rest, turning in their eternal waltz. Long ago, before cities and streetlights, the moon was the world's only lantern. Travelers used it to find their way. Farmers planted by its phases, poets wrote under its silver calm. The full moon was a time for gathering, for quiet awe, for stories shared under the open sky. Its changing phases marked the passage of time, a soft calendar written in light. Even now, when you look up, you're joining a chain of gazes, stretching back through every century of wonder. You can feel how the moon's phases mirror the cycles of life. Waxing and waning, appearing and fading. It reminds you that nothing stays the same, and nothing truly ends. Growth, fullness, release, renewal, a circle without hurry, without demand. Each stage carries its own kind of beauty. The thin crescent of a new moon, fragile and hopeful. The full moon, bold and radiant. The dark moon resting unseen, waiting quietly for light to return. You too, move through such phases, inward and outward, bright and still, always returning to balance. Even the smallest details of your body echo this lunar rhythm. Women's cycles, moods, sleep patterns, even the timing of dreams, all subtly trace the moon's pulse. You imagine that your body knows, deep down, when the moon grows full. Maybe it feels it in the bloodstream, a tiny signal carried through time. Maybe that's why you feel calmer under its glow, or restless when it fades. It's not superstition. It's connection, ancient and invisible, carried in your cells from a time when humans lived by the night sky alone. Sometimes the moon disappears. Clouds swallow its light, or the Earth's shadow drapes across it in an eclipse. Yet even when you can't see it, you know it's still there, silent, orbiting faithfully. The darkness is never absence. Only a moment of rest, a pause between reflections. You can almost hear it whispering through the sky, a reminder that even light needs to sleep, that even beauty must sometimes retreat to renew its glow. You think about the way moonlight touches the world, how it turns ordinary things to poetry. A puddle becomes a mirror. A leaf becomes silver lace. Mountains and rooftops shimmer like glass, and every sound grows softer. The world seems to hold its breath, caught in a quiet spell. You feel it too. The slowing of thought, the loosening of time. Moonlight doesn't illuminate like the sun. It soothes, it cools, it listens. Some nights, you might notice a halo around the moon. A pale ring formed by ice crystals high in the atmosphere. It's the sky's way of drawing attention to the moon's serenity, a faint frame of light made by frozen clouds. You imagine those tiny crystals drifting miles above, bending light just so, creating something delicate and fleeting. The ring feels like a soft crown, a reminder that beauty often appears only when conditions are just right. A dance between warmth, cold, and the patience of air. You remember that the moon, too, was once part of the Earth. Long ago, a young planet was struck by a colossal object, and molten fragments were thrown into orbit. Those fragments gathered, slowly, patiently, forming the moon. A piece of Earth set free, forever circling its parent. You can almost feel the poetry in that. A child born of impact, now the calmest face in the sky. What was once fire became peace. What was chaos became light. When you watch the moon move across the sky, you see more than motion. You see time itself turning. The same moon you see now once watched over the dinosaurs, the first forests, the earliest rivers. It looked down on every age, unchanged, unmoved. Even now, astronauts' footprints remain on its surface, perfectly preserved, waiting for centuries of silent sunrises. You think of them there, tiny marks of life on a silent world, and it feels humbling, like leaving a whisper on the edge of infinity. There's something about the moon that quiets the mind. Its roundness feels complete, balanced, eternal. You watch it rise, slow and deliberate, climbing through the branches of trees, painting the sky with silver milk. It doesn't demand attention. It simply exists, content to be what it is. A sphere of rock glowing with borrowed light. And in that simple existence, you find peace. A reminder that being, in itself, is enough. You imagine lying beside a still lake. The moon reflected on the surface. The water barely moves, and its reflection trembles just slightly, as though the world is breathing. You can't tell which is real, the moon above or the one below. Both shine. Both are beautiful. Both belong to the same calm universe. You listen to the small sounds around you, the distant rustle of leaves, the slow rhythm of your heart, and they all seem to blend with the moon's quiet hum. Somewhere far away, wolves lift their voices, not in loneliness, but in harmony with the night. Ancient people heard that song and felt the same connection you feel now. A recognition that everything under the moon is part of one gentle whole. The oceans, the winds, the tides, the hearts of creatures, all swaying to the same invisible rhythm. You let yourself sink into that thought, weightless, timeless, drifting on lunar gravity. You watch as the moon begins its slow descent, dipping toward the horizon. Its light softens. fading into the pale blue promise of dawn. You know the sun will soon return, bright and warm, but you hold on to this stillness a little longer. The moon remains, even unseen, guiding the oceans, watching the Earth's long sleep from afar. And as you close your eyes, you can still feel its pull, quiet and kind, reminding you that you, too, are part of this endless dance between light and dark, between motion and rest, between the tides of the sea and the tides of the soul. Network connection lost. Attempting to reconnect, you gaze upward, and the stars seem to shimmer with meaning. Each cluster, each delicate point of light, holds a story older than language. You can almost sense the ancient eyes that once looked up from desert sands and mountain peaks, tracing invisible lines across the night. For as long as humans have existed, we've searched the heavens for patterns, gentle symbols to make sense of the infinite dark. The constellations are not just stars, they are dreams stretched across eternity. You imagine those first storytellers sitting beneath the same endless sky. There were no lights, no maps, only the quiet and the shimmer above. They saw creatures, heroes, and gods forming out of scattered fire. Hunters with bows, bears wandering, queens crowned in jewels of light. Each star became a brushstroke in the cosmic mural, connecting imagination with the vast unknown. And in those glowing shapes, they found comfort. A reminder that even in darkness, there is order, connection, and beauty. The language of constellations was not written in ink, but in memory. It was whispered from parent to child, carried through generations like sacred music. The stories became a guide, a calendar, a compass. When to plant, when to sail, when to rest. You imagine standing beside them, your eyes tracing Orion's belt as it rises from the horizon, marking the seasons' change. The stars become a gentle clock, ticking not in seconds, but in centuries. Each civilization saw its own reflection in the sky. The Greeks saw heroes and myths. The Egyptians saw the souls of gods. The Chinese mapped their emperors and scholars among the stars, while the Polynesians saw pathways across the oceans, routes that led them safely through vast, empty waters. Every culture, every language, every dreamer found a different meaning in the same sky. And somehow, all those meanings coexist, layered gently upon one another like transparent veils of light. You imagine lying on soft grass as the night deepens. The constellations above shift slowly, almost imperceptibly. You follow the curve of Cassiopeia, her throne tilted toward the pole. You trace the arc of the Big Dipper, its handle pointing toward Polaris. The North Star, steadfast and unwavering. For thousands of years, travelers looked to that single point of light to find their way home. Even now, as satellites spin and GPS hums quietly above Earth, Polaris remains, constant, patient, a whisper of trust in the cosmic dark. You can almost hear the soft hum of those ancient stories still lingering in the air. They drift like wind through the leaves, carried in the rhythm of time. Orion still hunts across the winter sky, his bow drawn and ready. The Pleiades still shimmer like a cluster of diamonds, delicate and near. To the naked eye, they look close, like sisters huddled together. But in truth, each is separated by unimaginable distance. Yet still, they shine as one. A reminder that connection can stretch across light, years, and still feel close. Science now tells you what those old storytellers could only imagine. Each constellation is not a picture, not really, but a coincidence of distance and angle. Some stars are near, some impossibly far. Their alignment an illusion of perspective. Yet the illusion comforts you. It reminds you that even chance can create beauty. That sometimes, things don't need to be connected by distance to feel connected by meaning. The sky, in its quiet way, offers both mystery and acceptance. You think about how the constellations slowly drift over thousands of years. The Earth tilts, the poles wobble, the stars shift. The sky you see tonight is not quite the same as the one your ancestors saw, and yet it feels the same, familiar, eternal. Like a melody that's been sung 1,000 ways, but always with the same tune. The constellations adapt, but they never vanish. They evolve with us, reflecting the endless cycle of change and remembrance. The stars themselves are storytellers too. Each one holds a lifetime longer than any human history. Some young and hot, burning blue, others ancient and faint, near the end of their long glow. Their light carries whispers of their birth, their chemistry, their motion through the galaxy. Astronomers read this light like language, decoding the elements written in its faint color. And you realize, even the universe speaks in stories, written not in words, but in wavelengths of light. You imagine the constellations as a grand library in the sky. Each cluster of stars a shelf, each light a book, each twinkle a verse. You could spend eternity reading and never reach the end. The stories are infinite, tales of creation, of loss, of transformation. The hero's journey is not just human, it is cosmic. Stars are born, live, and die in brilliant flashes, scattering their essence back into the void. Their endings become the beginnings of new worlds, new suns, new stories. Even in this vastness, there is intimacy. When you trace the stars with your gaze, you are connecting across time, with ancestors who looked up in wonder, and with future dreamers who will do the same. The constellations are bridges, not between stars, but between hearts. They carry our curiosity, our longing, our hope. You can almost feel their presence, faint and eternal, woven into the fabric of night like threads of memory. As you breathe, the sky seems to breathe with you. The constellations shimmer, pulse, and shift in rhythm with your heart. The Milky Way stretches above like a river of silver fog, flowing between the patterns, connecting them all. You imagine dipping your hand into that river, feeling the cool current of starlight pass through your fingers. The constellations drift like islands in that glowing sea, some bright and bold, others quiet, waiting to be discovered. You think of how children still lie on rooftops and open fields, pointing up, giving names to stars. New constellations are born every night in imagination. A dragon, a ship, a sleeping cat, a heart. The old stories remain, but new ones join them, blending science and wonder in a shared sky. The act of naming, of seeing meaning in chaos, is as old as humanity itself. It's how we find our place. By drawing connections, by turning light into language. Some nights, the constellations fade behind clouds. The sky grows blank, soft, featureless. But you know they're still there, just beyond the mist, patient as ever. The stories do not vanish when unseen. They simply wait for the next pair of eyes, the next dreamer to look up and listen. Even when hidden, the constellations remain written on the inner ceiling of your mind, glowing faintly in the quiet space between thoughts. You imagine drifting higher, rising above the earth, above the atmosphere. The stars sharpen. The constellations stretch into true perspective, vast, distant, unaligned. Yet even from up here, you still trace the same familiar shapes. You realize that constellations don't live in the sky, they live in the human heart. They are reflections of how we see the world, patterns we project onto the infinite to make it feel like home. The night continues, slow and steady. The stars turn, the earth spins, and the ancient constellations drift across the heavens like glowing whispers. You can almost hear their stories, of gods and lovers, of journeys and battles, of loss and light. And as you listen, something inside you settles. You are part of this same sky, this same rhythm, this same quiet story being told again and again, across centuries and silence. Through every beating heart and every starlit night. You imagine yourself standing at the edge of an ancient forest, the air soft and heavy with scent, earth, moss, rain, and memory. Above, the branches weave together like threads of a dark green sky. Each leaf glimmers faintly in the moonlight, alive with the slow breath of the world. You can almost hear the forest thinking, not in words, but in pulses, whispers, and quiet exchanges that hum beneath the bark. Beneath your feet, the soil feels warm, and deep within it, something unseen connects everything around you. The forest, though silent to human ears, is full of conversation. Beneath the roots, a hidden network glows with life, mycorrhizal threads, delicate as silk, stretching through the dark. They link tree to tree, fungus to root, mind to mind. Scientists call it the Wood Wide Web, but it feels more like an ancient language, one spoken through chemistry and time. You imagine messages flowing underfoot, a warning about drought, a gift of carbon, a comfort from an elder oak to a sapling in shadow. Every root, every tendril, every fungal strand has a purpose. Together, they create a quiet intelligence, something neither human nor alien, but beautifully alive. The forest shares itself selflessly, one tree feeding another, one species protecting the next. When one suffers, the others respond. When sunlight fades, nutrients flow like empathy through the soil. You picture it like a glowing map beneath the earth, threads of golden light pulsing, weaving, breathing in perfect rhythm. Above, the trees seem to mirror the stars. Each canopy spreads wide like a galaxy of leaves, each trunk a pillar of living starlight. You can almost feel the slow pulse of photosynthesis, each molecule of chlorophyll capturing sunlight and turning it into sugar, energy, life. The forest breathes in carbon, breathes out oxygen, and you realize every breath you take tonight was a gift from some green companion. The exchange is endless, ancient, and tender. You step deeper into this sleeping world. The air cools, rich with the sound of gentle dripping. Dew falling from high branches, gathering in tiny pools. Somewhere far off, an owl calls softly, its voice a ripple through the stillness. You pause to listen, feeling the vibration of sound move through the forest's body. Even sound, it seems, becomes part of this web. Another form of communication, a soft reminder that silence here is never empty. In the darkness, mushrooms glow faintly, bioluminescent creatures feeding on decaying wood, transforming death into light. You crouch beside one, tracing the edges of its delicate cap. It feels like touching the skin of another world. These fungi are the quiet recyclers of the planet, breaking down what has fallen, returning it to the circle of life. The forest wastes nothing. Even loss becomes nourishment. Even endings, here, are beginnings. You imagine what it would feel like to think the way a forest does. To move slowly, to measure time not in seconds but in seasons. To share resources without thought of ownership. To live in quiet harmony, connected by invisible bonds that pulse with care. Trees do not rush. They do not compete in haste. They stand, breathe, listen, and reach for light, together. Your thoughts drift to the way roots sense gravity, how they grow downward with purpose, while branches reach up toward the sun. It is balance, perfect, ancient, patient balance. Each root tip explores the unknown soil, like a fingertip feeling its way through darkness, guided by chemical signals and faint electrical whispers. The forest, in this way, is both map and explorer. It is constantly seeking, sensing, and remembering. There is intelligence in stillness. The forest does not think like you do, yet it knows things you cannot. It can detect the scent of an insect before it lands, release chemicals to warn others, even call allies to its defense. A tree under attack by caterpillars will release airborne messages, summoning wasps that feed on the intruders. You imagine those messages drifting through the air, invisible but alive, like unseen songs in a symphony of survival. At the edge of a clearing, moonlight spills across a fallen log. Its bark has softened, becoming a cradle for moss, ferns, and small beetles. Decay, you realize, is not an end here. It is a transformation, a slow, graceful return to the source. Even the air around it feels charged, carrying the faint perfume of change. You breathe deeply, and it feels like inhaling the rhythm of the earth itself. The forest is ancient, yet never old. It is constantly renewing, birthing and releasing, inhaling and exhaling. Some of these trees have stood for centuries, their rings recording droughts, storms, and seasons of light. You could read them like the pages of a diary written by time itself. Every groove in the bark tells a story, every crack a memory. You run your fingers over it, and it feels alive, as if the tree remembers your touch. You think of how human cities mimic this design without realizing it. Networks of communication, sharing, and growth. But here, it is pure, effortless, and balanced. No wires, no noise, no need for invention. The forest invented connection long before we named it. You can almost see the pulse of information moving beneath you, spreading slowly, kindly, endlessly. Like thought without ego, like breath without voice. The scent of pine and soil deepens as night thickens. Somewhere, a breeze moves gently through the canopy, setting the leaves to whisper. You imagine that sound as a lullaby, ancient words spoken by the earth to calm itself. The rhythm is slow and perfect, and your own breathing begins to match it. Inhale, the trees exhale oxygen. Exhale, they take in your carbon. You and the forest breathe each other's lives, endlessly intertwined. In the distance, a stream murmurs. Its voice blends with the heartbeat of the forest, creating a music so soft it feels like silence made visible. You walk toward it, guided by the glimmer of moonlight reflected in rippling water. Beneath the surface, pebbles glint like tiny stars. You kneel, touching the cold flow with your fingertips. It carries nutrients, seeds, and whispers from miles away. The water, like the roots, connects everything. You begin to understand that nothing here stands alone. Each organism is part of something greater. A cycle of giving and receiving, of life folded within life. The fungus depends on the roots depend on the rain depends on the sky depends on the forest's breath. Everything is circular, like ripples spreading endlessly through water. You imagine lying down among the roots, feeling their subtle warmth beneath you. The ground is soft, damp, alive. You can almost sense the gentle electric signals flowing just below your skin. Slow pulses that remind you that even stillness can hum with energy. Your heartbeat matches the earth's rhythm. You are no longer separate. You are another thread in this vast, intricate web. Time drifts. The forest continues its slow, unhurried thinking. The moon moves higher, silver light sifting through branches in dappled beams. Tiny insects shimmer in the glow, wings catching the faint light like drifting stars. You feel yourself dissolving gently into the quiet. Part of the breathing, the listening, the ancient pulse that binds all things. You realize that the forest doesn't simply exist. It remembers. It carries the scent of every rain, the echo of every footstep, the trace of every breeze. The molecules of fallen leaves become new roots, new branches, new air. The forest dreams in cycles, and you are part of its dream. As you breathe slower, softer, the sounds around you blur into one gentle rhythm. Wind, water, wings, and heart. You let your thoughts wander like drifting seeds, settling quietly wherever they please. The forest continues beneath you, whispering in languages older than sound, weaving its endless stories through soil, light, and time. As the last breath of daylight slips below the horizon, you notice how softly the world begins to change. The light fades not with haste, but with grace, as though the sky is exhaling. The edges of things blur, outlines soften, colors surrender to shadow. You feel the air cool against your skin, a slow hush settling over the land. The day has withdrawn its bright pulse, leaving behind a softer, deeper rhythm that only the night can play. You look up. The sky is no longer blue, yet not yet black. It is something in between, a slow river of color shifting with every heartbeat. First, a deep indigo sigh. Then, hints of violet, amber, rose, and finally, the tender blue, gray of early night. This gradient, this transition, is not just beauty. It is science and poetry blending. The fading sunlight scatters through the atmosphere, shorter wavelengths like blue and violet drifting away first, leaving behind longer hues that melt into one another like watercolors in motion. You imagine yourself floating upward into that gradient, drifting through layers of color as they dissolve into the quiet of space. Each hue is a whisper from the sun, a memory of its warmth lingering in the thin veil of air that protects our world. You feel how fragile it is, that glowing envelope of gases, and yet how strong, how it bends and scatters light to create the tender beauty of twilight. The sky deepens. Stars begin to bloom like distant flowers, tentative and pale at first. You can almost sense their hesitation, as if they wait for permission to shine. One by one they appear, first the brightest, then the smaller, fainter ones. The air grows cooler. Somewhere, crickets begin their nightly song, their rhythm syncing with your pulse. You breathe slowly, watching as the last ember of sunset fades into the folds of night. Now the world feels softer, slower. The deep blues of twilight surrender to midnight indigo. The Milky Way appears like a trail of smoke, a luminous river crossing the heavens. You imagine it as a bridge between time and silence. Billions of stars woven together by gravity and light. You think of how each color in the night sky tells a story. The blue glow of young stars, the red shimmer of ancient giants, the faint gold of dust warmed by starlight. You remember that color, in truth, is only light translated by the mind. The atoms of the cosmos do not see themselves as blue or red. They simply vibrate, emit, and radiate. It is your eyes, your neurons, your dreaming brain that turns vibration into beauty. The night sky is not painted, it is sung. A silent symphony of frequencies that your mind translates into color and calm. A faint breeze touches your face, carrying the scent of night, blooming jasmine, damp soil, and distant rain. The darkness feels alive, but not in a way that frightens. It breathes, it listens, it holds. You close your eyes for a moment, letting your thoughts dissolve into the rhythm of the earth turning. Somewhere far below, oceans shimmer in reflected moonlight. Somewhere far above, particles of dust drift through the vacuum, catching the faintest glimmers of faraway suns. You open your eyes again, and the night feels endless. It is easy to forget that what you see is not really darkness, but the absence of scattered sunlight. Even in the deepest hour of night, the sky is full of light, ancient, traveling across unimaginable distances. Every photon that touches your eyes tonight began its journey long before you were born. Some have crossed millions of years to reach this single moment. You are seeing the past, glowing faintly in the present. The color of night is more complex than black. It carries subtle tones, navy, violet, gray, even silver, depending on the dust in the air and the phase of the moon. The human eye, though limited, perceives enough to feel wonder. You think of nocturnal creatures who see the world differently. Owls, moths, and cats, whose eyes drink light more deeply. To them, the night is not dark at all, but luminous and rich, full of quiet signals. Above you, the moon begins to rise. Its light is cool and soft, like brushed silk on water. You watch as its glow spills gently across the landscape, painting everything in shades of silver and shadow. The moon does not shine on its own. It reflects the sun's light, pale and patient, carrying warmth across the cold divide of space. Its color, too, changes as it climbs. Near the horizon, it glows amber or rose, tinted by the thick atmosphere. Higher up, it turns white and calm, its craters visible like the gentle wrinkles of time. You think of how every color of the sky, from dawn to dusk to night, is part of one continuous story. It begins with sunlight scattering through the morning air, grows brighter as the world awakens, then softens again into the hush of twilight. The cycle repeats endlessly, a breath of light and shadow that never ceases. Each hue is a note in the Earth's daily song, sung to the rhythm of its rotation. There's a strange comfort in the predictability of it, the way color fades not with sadness, but with grace. Even the stars obey the same rhythm. They are born in nebulae, glowing clouds of gas and dust, and over millions of years, they change color as they live and die. Blue stars burn fast and hot, red ones linger long and cool. Each stage leaves its fingerprint on the spectrum of the night, a quiet trace of cosmic evolution. As you gaze upward, your eyes begin to adjust. The faintest shades appear where none seemed before. A dim band of light stretches from horizon to horizon. The zodiacal glow, caused by sunlight reflecting off dust in the inner solar system. Most never notice it, but you do now. It looks like a ghostly extension of twilight, a soft reminder that the night sky is never truly empty. Somewhere in the north, a faint shimmer dances, the aurora. You imagine standing beneath it, watching ribbons of green and violet unfurl across the horizon. Those colors, born from solar winds colliding with Earth's magnetic field, move like living silk. The air there hums faintly, charged with particles and light. You realize that color can exist even where sound does not. A visual whisper, carried across the sky. The longer you look, the more layers reveal themselves. Space is not flat black, but deep textured and alive with subtle gradients. It's like looking into the folds of velvet, each layer darker, softer, richer than the last. Some astronomers call it cosmic dust glow, light scattered by microscopic grains drifting through the galaxy. To you, it feels like the sky wearing its own blanket, wrapping the world in its cool embrace. You feel small beneath it, yet perfectly placed. The same molecules that scatter sunlight in the atmosphere once formed inside ancient stars. Every particle in your breath, every drop of color in your blood was born from cosmic light. You are not merely watching the night sky. You are part of it, built from the same stardust that glows softly above. Your body feels lighter now, as though the gravity of the day has lifted. You let your thoughts drift upward with the stars. The shifting colors of the night move through your imagination like waves. You picture them blending and fading, swirling together. The last blue of twilight dissolving into black, the silver of the moon weaving through, the faint green of aurora breathing on the edges. Time feels slow here. The planet turns quietly beneath you, spinning through a sea of color and silence. You imagine the sun on the far side of the world, painting another sky into dawn. Its light will soon return to you, scattering again through the same air, bringing back the cycle of color, warmth, and life. But for now, you rest in the in-between. That sacred pause between light and darkness, where the world exhales. You lie back, feeling the cool earth beneath you, the distant pulse of the universe above. The air is full of quiet movement, the planet breathing, the stars shimmering. The night deepening by degrees, you let your eyelids fall. The colors fade slowly, gently into the darkness behind your eyes. Somewhere beyond thought, the world continues to turn, carrying its endless palette of night and day, blue and gold, shadow and light. You sit beneath the open sky, where darkness stretches endlessly, vast and calm as an ocean. The stars above are quiet, scattered like pearls across a black sea. Yet behind their gentle light lies something invisible. A current of energy, soft and ancient, traveling endlessly through space. You close your eyes, and you can almost feel it brush against your skin. A faint hum, a pulse, a whisper of motion moving through the night. Light is the most patient traveler you can imagine. It leaves the heart of a star, a burst of pure energy, and begins a journey that can last millions of years. It passes through dust, through gas, through the folds of the universe itself. It stretches, bends, and slows, but it never truly stops. When that light finally reaches your eyes, it becomes something more, a bridge between your small human life and the endless cosmos that surrounds you. You imagine a single photon, born in the core of a distant star. It begins as heat, the trembling of atoms pressed together in unimaginable density. When it finally escapes the star's surface, it carries a memory, a vibration, a color, a signature of where it came from. It travels across space at nearly 300,000 kilometers per second, faster than anything else known to existence. You picture it racing through the void, passing planets, nebulae, and comets without sound, without touch, only motion. To your eyes, that photon becomes starlight. It looks soft, gentle, almost still, yet it carries the essence of creation itself. Light is not just brightness. It is the rhythm of the universe. Electromagnetic waves, oscillating endlessly, invisible until they meet something that listens. Your eyes are instruments tuned to a very narrow band of those waves, the visible spectrum. Red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet. Colors born from frequency, from vibration, from the ancient dance of energy through nothingness. As you gaze upward, you think of how this light has crossed unimaginable distances just to reach you. Every twinkle is time itself, ancient radiation, older than memory, whispering stories of what once was. Some of the light above you began its journey when dinosaurs walked the earth. Some when mountains were still forming, or before the oceans had their current shape. Every beam is a thread, weaving together the past and the present in one continuous shimmer. You breathe deeply, and the air feels electric, alive with invisible motion. Even here on Earth, light is never still. It bounces from leaf to leaf, from water to air, bending and scattering as it goes. When sunlight touches your skin, it brings warmth because atoms in your body begin to vibrate faster, dancing with the rhythm of the sun's energy. The glow you feel is not just heat. It's connection, the universe's way of saying, you are made of the same thing as me. You picture the universe as a vast ocean of light waves, endlessly overlapping and flowing through each other. Some are short, quick, and bright. Others are long, deep, and slow. Together they form the electromagnetic spectrum. Radio waves, microwaves, infrared, visible, ultraviolet, X-rays, and gamma rays. Most of it you can't see, but it's there. A silent symphony surrounding you always. Light travels not only through space, but through your very body, passing through skin, through bone, through the tiny spaces between atoms. You think of how light bends around massive objects. Gravity pulls it gently, curving its path like wind around a mountain. This is how we know the universe has shape. Not flat, not empty, but soft and curved, like the fabric of a blanket wrapping everything together. Einstein once described light as both a wave and a particle, something that behaves like water and dust at the same time. It is paradox and poetry combined. The simplest thing, yet the most mysterious. In the quiet night, you imagine what the world would be without light. Not darkness, exactly, but silence. A stillness so complete that time itself might stop. Without light, there would be no sight, no color, no growth. Plants could not reach toward the sun, oceans would not shimmer, and your eyes would have no reason to open. Light defines life. Every cell in your body is descended from something that once learned to follow it, to turn toward warmth, to awaken in its glow. The stars shimmer softly, their light flickering as it passes through thin layers of atmosphere. You realize that even the twinkle is an illusion. The air above you bends and refracts the light, making the stars seem to dance. From space, they do not flicker. They burn steady and pure, radiating in every direction. You are watching the sky through a lens of air and motion, and it turns the universe into something alive, something that breathes. You imagine standing in a world without atmosphere, on a moon or drifting asteroid. The stars there would not twinkle, but they would pierce the darkness like frozen diamonds, each one a pinpoint of perfect, unblinking clarity. You might stretch out your hand, and though it would never touch the light, you would feel its stillness in your chest, that infinite silence of radiation crossing the cosmos. It would not burn, nor speak, but it would fill you with the deep understanding that you are surrounded by the memory of fire. Light, you realize, carries not only warmth but information. Through it, astronomers read the stories of stars, their temperatures, compositions, ages. Each color tells a truth. Blue stars are young and fierce, their photons vibrating with high energy. Red stars are ancient and gentle, cooling as they age, their light stretching into longer wavelengths. Even the dust between stars glows faintly in infrared, like the ashes of old fires still smoldering in the dark. You think of light's other side, its absence. Shadows are not simply emptiness, but soft reminders that light cannot be everywhere at once. They shape your sense of space and depth. Without them, the world would be flat and endless, without texture or rest. The night sky itself is not pure black, but filled with a faint background glow, cosmic microwave radiation, the afterglow of the Big Bang. It is the oldest light of all, still echoing softly from when the universe was young and full of promise. You picture it now, that faint whisper of energy that fills all of space. It is not visible, but it's everywhere, a low hum of ancient warmth, left over from the universe's first heartbeat. You imagine it wrapping around you like a soft, invisible blanket. Even in the deepest void, there is always a trace of light, always something moving, vibrating, becoming. Nothing in the universe is ever truly dark. Your thoughts drift to bioluminescent creatures in the deep ocean. Jellyfish, plankton, and fish that make their own light. In the blackness of the sea, they glow softly. Pulses of green and blue drifting like stars beneath the waves. You see how light appears wherever life does, how it becomes a language of survival, attraction and beauty. The cosmos is reflected there. The same physics, the same longing to shine in the darkness. You begin to feel that light is not just energy. It is memory, movement, and message. Every beam carries the story of where it's been. Every reflection a record of what it has touched. The light falling on your face tonight will scatter again, travel onward, and one day, perhaps far away, it will touch another world, another observer gazing up into their own night sky. You breathe again, slower now, feeling the rhythm of your heart align with the pulse of unseen radiation. The night air hums softly, the stars seem closer, and the darkness feels full rather than empty. You realize that you, too, emit light, faint, invisible infrared warmth radiating from your skin, a glow of life in the cool air. Even in stillness, you are part of the great exchange. Energy flowing outward, blending into the fabric of space. As your thoughts drift further, you imagine the universe not as void, but as a vast field of gentle vibration. Every atom oscillates, every particle hums. The distances between stars are vast, but light bridges them effortlessly, stitching together galaxies like threads of gold in an infinite tapestry. You see it stretching out forever, waves overlapping, merging, fading, and reappearing. A slow, endless rhythm that feels almost like breathing. You let your eyes close now, but the afterimage of light lingers. Soft shapes, glowing colors behind your eyelids. You can still feel its warmth, still sense its presence. The stars continue to shine above, their photons falling gently through space, through time, through you. The night hums faintly. A universe made of waves and whispers, moving always, glowing forever, quietly dreaming itself into being. Hello there. Welcome to the Sleepy Knowledge Channel. You are safe here, surrounded by calm words, soft thoughts, and a universe that hums quietly in the background. As you settle in, your breathing slows, your shoulders grow lighter, and your mind begins to drift. Tonight, you'll wander gently through the landscape of memory. Not just human memory, but the ancient memory that lives in every cell, every star, every grain of dust that ever existed. You imagine memory not as a file or a story, but as a shimmering field. A sea of impressions stretching endlessly across time. Each wave carries a fragment of what once was, a spark of thought, a pattern of motion, a trace of light. In the same way the ocean remembers every drop of rain, the universe remembers every flicker of existence. Nothing truly disappears. Every sound, every heartbeat, every atom keeps a whisper of its past. You picture your brain, vast and quiet beneath your skull, like a night forest filled with fireflies. Each neuron is a tiny lantern, blinking in soft rhythms. They flash and fade, but each spark carries meaning. A memory forming, a connection strengthening. Trillions of these flickers light up the landscape within you. They are electricity, chemistry, and story woven together in a silence only you can feel. Inside your mind, memories are not static things. They shift, evolve, breathe. They are patterns of energy stored within the folds of your brain. In the hippocampus, the amygdala, the neocortex. When you recall something, your mind doesn't replay a recording, it rebuilds the moment from fragments. It is like sculpting fog, delicate, ephemeral, shaped by emotion and imagination alike. Every recollection is a dream reawakened. You drift through this idea slowly, picturing neurons as constellations, their connections stretching like cosmic filaments across your inner sky. Each memory glows like a small star, bound to others by invisible threads of association. Some are bright and near. The sound of your name, the warmth of sunlight, the scent of rain. Others are faint and distant, buried deep in time, their light taking longer to reach the surface of awareness. You imagine walking through a forest made of thoughts. Every step you take stirs the air, releasing faint echoes. The sound of laughter, the feeling of wind, the glint of a childhood afternoon. The deeper you wander, the older the forest becomes. Moss grows over ancient stones of memory, and forgotten paths wind through the trees. You realize that even memories you've lost still exist somewhere, quiet and sleeping, waiting for the right light to awaken them. In truth, memory is not only stored within you, it lives in everything around you. Trees remember the wind through the direction of their growth. Rivers remember mountains in the minerals they carry. Even the atoms in your body remember the stars they were once part of, forged in the furnaces of suns long gone, still carrying the imprint of that cosmic fire. You are, in a quiet way, a living archive of the universe itself. Your brain uses a delicate balance of chemicals to preserve memory. Proteins strengthen the connections between neurons, forming pathways that allow thoughts to flow more easily. Sleep deepens these pathways, like water carving channels through soft earth. When you dream, your brain replays the day in gentle fragments, sorting, filing, softening the edges. Some memories fade away to make space for new ones, but their essence remains, dissolved into the quiet ocean of your mind. You think of memory as a form of time travel. When you remember, you are not just recalling, you are returning. Your mind folds space and time so that what was becomes what is. A sound, a smell, a touch, they can awaken whole worlds in an instant. The scent of old paper, and suddenly you are a child again, lost in a story. The sound of rain, and you're walking under a dim streetlight, feeling both lonely and alive. The past breathes softly inside the present, invisible but near. Your memories are also shared. The human brain mirrors emotion. When you see someone smile, your neurons echo the feeling. When someone tells a story, your brain lights up as if you are living it yourself. This is empathy, the beautiful overlap between your mind and another's. In this way, memory extends beyond you, weaving a shared tapestry between hearts. Every touch, every gaze, every word exchanged becomes a thread in that invisible fabric. You imagine the universe itself having memory, not written in books or words, but in energy and structure. The movement of galaxies, the slow unfolding of stars, the faint ripples of gravity, all are echoes of what once occurred. Space remembers every collision, every flare, every birth and death. In the cosmic background radiation, the universe keeps the faint warmth of its own beginning, as if even creation itself cannot forget its first breath. You breathe slowly, feeling the weight of that idea settle gently in your chest. You are both ancient and new, a pattern of stardust learning to remember itself. Your memories are not separate from the cosmos. They are its continuation, small sparks of awareness glowing in the vast dark. The neurons in your mind and the galaxies above share the same rule. Energy flows, connections form, patterns emerge. You picture memory as light filtered through water. Some memories shine clear and bright, their details perfect and untouched. Others are distorted, bending through layers of emotion, refracted by time. You reach for them, and they change shape, softening, fading, becoming stories instead of facts. But maybe that's what makes them beautiful, that they are alive, constantly rewriting themselves like waves rewriting the sand. The mind has its tides too. Memories surface and sink in rhythm drawn by unseen forces. Sometimes, an old thought rises gently without warning. A song you haven't heard in years, a face you once knew. It feels random, but it's not. The brain is always weaving connections, reshuffling patterns, finding meaning even in silence. Every memory is part of a larger design, one that only reveals itself in glimpses. As you drift deeper into thought, you imagine what it means to forget. Forgetting is not loss but mercy, the brain's way of keeping space open for new growth. just as forests shed their leaves to make way for spring. Your mind lets go of details it no longer needs. What remains are the roots, the emotions, the lessons, the warmth. Forgetting, in its quiet wisdom, is another form of remembering what matters most. You recall how the night sky itself is a kind of memory. Light from stars that may no longer exist, still reaching you across time. When you look up, you are seeing the past made visible. The same happens inside you. Every thought, every feeling, every dream is light from an earlier moment, still shimmering softly across the space of your consciousness. You are, in your own way, a galaxy of memories, each glowing faintly in the vastness of being. Your heartbeat slows, matching the rhythm of your breath. You picture memory spreading through your body, not as data, but as warmth. The muscles remember comfort. The skin remembers touch. Even your heartbeat carries memory. The ancient rhythm of your ancestors, of creatures that once swam in oceans and listened to the world through water. You carry them all quietly within you, like soft echoes layered through time. You think of how every cell has its own memory, written in the code of DNA. Tiny sequences of molecules recording billions of years of evolution, the blueprint of survival, change, and adaptation. It's humbling to imagine that your body knows things your mind has forgotten. It remembers the light of early suns, the pull of gravity, the first spark of life in a silent sea. Every cell hums with the echo of that origin, even as you rest here tonight. Some memories are collective. The stories humanity tells, myths, songs, discoveries, are the outer layers of our shared mind. Language itself is a vessel of memory, carrying meanings from one generation to the next. Every word you speak has been spoken before, shaped and softened by countless voices. You are surrounded by the memory of all who came before, their thoughts woven invisibly into the fabric of your own. You begin to feel your mind floating lightly, unanchored, as if you are part of a greater remembering. Something vast and peaceful, without boundaries or edges. The neurons in your head glow softly like distant constellations, pulsing with old light. The air around you seems to hum gently, filled with invisible signals, like whispers from long ago. The night feels full, not of noise, but of quiet presence. You drift deeper, and the line between thought and dream begins to blur. You no longer know if the memories are yours or the universe's. It doesn't matter. You are a vessel of awareness, carrying the music of existence forward in your own way. The stars continue to burn, the neurons continue to flicker, and memory flows endlessly between them, like a tide that never sleeps. You imagine the night sky as a slow ocean of light, rippling gently beyond time. Stars drift like luminous jellyfish, floating through a sea too vast to measure. You breathe in the quietness, feeling the soft gravity of their glow pull at your thoughts. Each one burns across unimaginable ages, carrying the story of creation in its flickering pulse. And as you gaze upward in your mind, you realize the starlight touching you tonight began its journey long before you were born. The light you see is ancient. Some of it has traveled for millions of years. It left the surface of suns when Earth's first forests were just beginning to grow. Others began their voyage even earlier, before the oceans had gathered or the moon had taken shape. By the time it reaches your eyes, that light has crossed endless deserts of space, untouched and unchanged. It is as if the universe whispers its own history directly into your gaze, one photon at a time. You picture those photons, tiny messengers racing across infinity. They pass through clouds of gas, through magnetic storms, through empty space colder than any night on Earth. And still they continue, steady, determined, unbroken. Each one carries a signature, a delicate fingerprint of its home star. In its vibration lies the color, the temperature, the very identity of a sun that might no longer exist. Astronomers capture that faint light with their telescopes, vast mirrors polished like still lakes. They decode its message, reading it like music written in wavelengths. A red hue reveals distance, a blue one motion, a faint flicker a change in brightness. Through this language of light, humans have mapped the heavens, learned the age of stars, and traced their chemical hearts. It's humbling, you think, that something so small, so fragile, carries the entire memory of a star across eternity. You imagine floating in that space yourself, a quiet traveler between galaxies. There is no sound, only light, and it moves with the patience of eternity. It doesn't rush, it doesn't tire. It simply continues, filling the universe with silent radiance. You drift beside it, watching the threads of energy stretch between worlds, weaving a vast, luminous web. The stars are not scattered randomly. They cluster in families, bound by gravity's invisible embrace. Galaxies spin like slow whirlpools, arms curling gracefully around their glowing centers. Within those spirals, billions of suns burn together, like coral reefs of light in the cosmic deep. Some are newborn and blue, still fierce with youth. Others are old and dim, fading gently into silence. And yet, all of them shine, contributing their glow to the great tide of the night. You remember that even your own sun is one of them, a modest star on the outskirts of a spiral galaxy. Its light, too, will travel one day, long after it has faded, still moving outward through the void. Perhaps, in another world, someone will look up and see that faint glimmer, not knowing it once warmed oceans and trees and you. The thought feels both lonely and comforting. That light, once born, never truly dies. It simply goes on wandering, carrying warmth into forever. You picture the Milky Way stretching across the sky like a river. It is the light of billions of distant stars, blurred together by distance and time. In ancient nights, before cities glowed, people saw it clearly, thought it was smoke or milk, or a path for souls. They gave it names and stories, weaving it into their dreams. It guided travelers, inspired poets, and whispered the same quiet message it still tells now, that we are part of something immeasurable. As you breathe, you imagine that light entering your body, soft, golden, older than memory. It passes through the thin veil of atmosphere, brushes your skin, enters your eyes. Your brain transforms it into meaning, a pattern, a color, a thought. In that instant, you and the universe share a direct connection, as intimate as breath. Some of the starlight never reaches the ground. It is scattered by the air, absorbed by clouds, caught by the ocean. But nothing is wasted. The energy becomes part of the endless exchange, warming, nourishing, transforming. Even in its fading, light continues to give. It turns into wind, into growth, into motion, into life itself. You imagine drifting above Earth, looking down at its faint glow. From space, the planet shines softly, not from sunlight alone, but from the life it reflects. Every city sparkles, every lightning flash blinks, every ocean shimmer contributes to the great radiance. From afar, it must look like a small star itself, one among countless others in the galactic sea. And perhaps, somewhere out there, another world looks back, wondering about this tiny, blue light. Light connects everything. It is the messenger of time, the carrier of truth, the artist of vision. Without it, there would be no color, no warmth, no memory of what exists. Even your thoughts, deep within your skull, depend on light like signals. Electric, radiant, pulsing in quiet rhythm. You are made of light that slowed down, condensed into form. The same stardust that burns above burns gently within you too. You think of time now, how it bends beneath the weight of light. When you gaze at a star, you're looking back, not just years, but centuries, millennia. The present and the past overlap in that single shimmer. You are, in that moment, touching the edge of history itself. The universe folds time into light, so you may glimpse the memory of its own unfolding. You picture cosmic dust floating in beams of starlight, swirling like pollen in an invisible breeze. Each speck is ancient, a fragment of broken stars drifting through infinity. Some of that dust falls onto Earth, settling quietly on oceans, mountains, your very skin. You have been touched, unknowingly, by the remnants of suns. You carry pieces of them in your body, their particles woven into your bones, your blood, your dreams. You imagine yourself dissolving into that same cosmic flow. No borders, no weight, only gentle awareness. You drift between stars, a current in the ocean of space. Light passes through you, around you, beyond you. You are both observer and participant, both the mirror and the glow. The longer you drift, the quieter everything becomes. The stars grow softer, their edges blurred by the haze of distance. It feels as if you are sinking into a luminous fog, warm, endless, peaceful. Time slows until even thought becomes light, diffused and still. The universe hums not loudly, but gently, like a lullaby made of photons and silence. Somewhere far away, a new star is being born. Clouds of gas collapse under gravity's pull, and in their center, fusion begins. A tiny spark flares, small and trembling, then steadies, then shines. That light will travel outward, across the darkness, perhaps to be seen by someone like you. The cycle continues. Light born, light traveling, light remembered. You think of how even shadows are a form of light, places where it rests instead of shines. They are the pauses between radiance, the soft inhale before the next glow. Without darkness, the light would lose its depth, its tenderness, its meaning. You feel that balance now, the quiet pulse between brightness and calm. It mirrors your own breathing, slow, even, alive. And as you float through this endless sky within your mind, you realize that you, too, emit light. Not just metaphorically, but truly. The warmth of your body, the spark of your cells. You are a small sun wrapped in skin, radiating softly into the night. Every thought, every heartbeat, every dream releases energy that joins the quiet sea around you. You are not separate from the starlight. You are part of its story, still unfolding, still glowing, still drifting. You imagine the night wrapped around you like a soft, endless blanket of calm. The world has gone quiet, leaving only the faint hum of the stars above. You feel the rhythm of your breath, steady and slow, like the ocean touching the shore. Somewhere in that stillness, the moon hangs, a silent guardian of the night sky, glowing with borrowed light. You look up, and the silver reflection seems alive, pulsing softly against the velvet dark. The moon has no light of its own. It shines because it remembers the sun. Every beam that brushes your skin has traveled first through daylight, then across space, to be softened by lunar dust. Its glow is gentle, diffused, almost dreamlike, light filtered through time. You can almost feel its coolness on your face, like a whisper across water. The moon's light is not harsh, its memory turned into radiance. You picture the moon's surface, not smooth, but cratered and ancient. Each mark is a story written in stone, a record of cosmic collisions. Meteorites have kissed its face for billions of years, leaving delicate scars like freckles in shadow. There is no wind there to erase them, no rain to wash them away. The moon remembers everything, holding its history in silence. You imagine standing there, where the horizon curves gently and the stars never blink. Your footsteps would leave marks that might last for eternity. The dust beneath you, fine as powdered glass, would shimmer faintly in the sunlight. Each grain is older than any mountain, older than any memory on Earth. Even in its emptiness, the moon hums with quiet energy, a slow vibration of timelessness. The moon's gravity touches everything on Earth. You feel it in the pull of the tides, in the sway of the oceans. Every drop of water listens to its rhythm, rising and falling like a sleeping breath. Without the moon, the seas would lose their pulse and the planet its balance. Its invisible hand guides the dance of water, keeping the world's heartbeat steady. You imagine the oceans as great mirrors of the sky, reflecting the moon's silver path. When the tide creeps in at night, it feels almost alive, drawn by a celestial magnet. The same pull that moves entire seas also stirs the fluids in your body. The human body, too, is a tide, salt water, rhythm, flow. You are, in quiet truth, an echo of the moon's gravity. You think about how ancient people once lived by its phases. Before clocks, before electricity, the moon was time itself. Farmers planted by its light, travelers found their way by its glow. Stories were born beneath its phases, myths of gods, wolves, lovers, and dreamers. The moon was a companion, a mystery, a face in the night that never truly left. Even now, in the age of neon and screenlight, the moon keeps its ancient patience. It waxes and wanes, faithful to its silent rhythm. Half, crescent, full, new. It moves through its cycle without hurry, without fail. Each phase is a reminder of change, of repetition, of gentle persistence. Even when you can't see it, it is there, turning quietly in the dark. You imagine watching it from space, floating in quiet orbit. It would look fragile, suspended in blackness, half in light and half in shadow. The border between night and day, the lunar terminator, moves like a slow wave. Crater rims catch the first light, glowing like frozen embers. It is both alive and still, both motion and pause, both reflection and silence. The moon's light touches more than the sea. It softens mountains, glimmers across forests, settles on rooftops like dusted silver. Animals respond to it, owls, foxes, and insects move differently under its watchful glow. Even plants, deep in their roots, sense the shift of lunar cycles. The entire planet seems to exhale when the full moon rises. You imagine yourself lying under that light, eyes half closed, mind drifting. The moon feels almost sentient, as if it sees you, though it never blinks. Its calm is contagious. Its patience seeps into your thoughts. You begin to mirror its stillness, your body growing heavier, your mind lighter. You are both observer and reflection, the watcher and the watched. Somewhere far away, astronauts once walked there, carrying the hum of Earth within their suits. They looked back and saw home. A glowing blue marble, small and precious in the void. They said it was silent, that the horizon was too close, the sky too black, and yet they felt awe, not fear, as if standing in the middle of a dream. The moon, in its silence, reminded them how fragile and beautiful their home truly was. You imagine the Earth from that distance, half light, half shadow, spinning gracefully in the dark. You see clouds swirling, continents glowing faintly, oceans moving to an ancient rhythm. You realize the moon and Earth are locked together in a cosmic dance. They face one another always, partners bound by invisible strings of gravity. For billions of years, they've moved like that, orbiting, pulling, holding each other in balance. This dance slows time itself. Every year, the moon drifts slightly farther away, about the width of a fingernail. Someday, its pull will weaken, and the tides will change their song. But not tonight. Tonight the rhythm remains the same, steady, eternal, soothing. You can almost hear it in your heartbeat, like waves lapping softly against the shore of your mind. You picture moonlight spilling across your skin, gentle as breath. It doesn't burn. It caresses. It moves like water, cool and forgiving. Every surface it touches becomes softer, quieter, as though the world itself is exiling. It finds its way into the smallest corners, through clouds, through windows, through the space between dreams. You let it fill you. Let it dissolve the noise until only stillness remains. Somewhere in your thoughts, you remember that moonlight is sunlight in disguise. Light reflected, transformed, humbled by distance. It is the perfect metaphor for gentleness. Power softened into calmness. Brilliance turned into peace. You realize that maybe your thoughts can do the same. Even the brightest, heaviest emotions can become gentle, if given space to cool and drift. You feel your consciousness thinning now, like mist over a still pond. The moon drifts behind your eyelids, glowing faintly in the dark. You can almost sense the pull of its gravity, soft and endless. You are floating, part starlight, part ocean, part dream. Everything slows, like the turning of a tide under a silver sky. You think of all the light the moon has reflected through time. It has touched mountains, deserts, lovers, explorers, and dreamers. It has watched the rise of cities, the fall of empires, the first flight of birds. And still, it glows unchanged, patient as eternity. Every night, it writes the same poem of light across the sleeping world. You breathe out, long and easy. You imagine the moon continuing its orbit, far above, watching without judgment. Its glow stretches across oceans, forests, and quiet towns. A soft reminder that you are part of something vast. You are connected by gravity, by light, by silence. The night deepens. The air cools, and the moonlight lingers, steady, endless, eternal. You imagine yourself adrift in a quiet night, where the air hums softly with distant starlight. Hello there, welcome to the Sleepy Knowledge channel. You are safe here, resting in the gentle rhythm of thought and wonder. The noise of the day fades behind you, dissolving into silence like sand sinking beneath calm water. You are weightless, your breath moving in slow tides, your mind open to the mysteries that drift through space and time. Somewhere in the vastness above, invisible patterns weave through the dark. They are not made of light, yet they guide everything that glows. These are the magnetic fields of the universe, unseen architects of order and motion. They shape galaxies, whisper to stars, and draw particles into elegant spirals. You can almost feel their pull, subtle and ancient, threading through everything that exists. You imagine the Earth surrounded by its own magnetic cocoon. It stretches outward like a shimmering veil, bending around the planet in graceful arcs. This is the magnetosphere, your planet's silent guardian, protecting life from the fierce winds of the sun. Without it, streams of solar particles would strip away the atmosphere, leaving the world bare and breathless. But the magnetic field deflects them, like a shield of invisible music. At the heart of the Earth, molten iron flows like a slow, fiery ocean. Its movement generates the magnetic field, swirling currents beneath your feet that never rest. You picture it, glowing metal, moving in vast loops, creating lines of force that rise through rock and sky. Every compass you've ever held listens to this hidden sea, pointing toward the planet's magnetic heart. Even birds and whales feel it, guiding their migrations through a map you cannot see. The auroras are where this invisible world becomes visible. When solar particles collide with the magnetic field, they spiral down toward the poles. There, they meet the atmosphere and paint the sky with color: green, violet, rose and gold. You imagine standing beneath that curtain of light, feeling its slow dance ripple above you. It's as if the universe itself is breathing, exhaling waves of color into the cold night air. Each shimmer of an aurora is an echo of the sun's distant storms. Energy travels across millions of miles, carried by magnetic lines that twist like ribbons through space. When it reaches Earth, it sings in light, an ancient song of connection between star and planet. Even now, above your head, those invisible threads hum softly, holding the world in quiet balance. You can almost sense their presence, a faint vibration in the space between your thoughts. You think about how every creature on Earth moves within that magnetic sea. Sea turtles cross entire oceans by sensing its pull, their minds tuned to the planet's magnetic whispers. Migratory birds feel its direction through tiny crystals of magnetite in their cells. Even some bacteria align themselves like compass needles, guided by fields older than life itself. Every movement, every migration, every return home, a conversation with the Earth's magnetic breath. And as you breathe, you too are part of it. Tiny electrical pulses move through your heart and brain, creating faint magnetic ripples of your own. Each thought, each beat, sends energy outward, a quiet signal in the universal web. You are not separate from the field, you are woven into it. You are both receiver and sender, a small, shining circuit in the fabric of existence. The magnetic poles are not fixed. They drift, slow and silent, across continents and oceans. Sometimes, over millennia, they even switch, north becoming south and south becoming north. It is the planet's quiet reminder that even the most constant things are alive, in motion, always changing. You imagine the Earth turning beneath you, its magnetic pulse steady but never still. Far beyond Earth, magnetic fields sculpt entire galaxies. Stars form along their lines, gas clouds twist into glowing spirals, and cosmic rays follow their paths. They stretch for light years, invisible hands guiding the dance of matter and energy. Every nebula, every sun, every flicker of light owes part of its shape to magnetism. It is the universe's unseen geometry. Order within the vastness, harmony within chaos. You imagine drifting through a nebula, surrounded by colors like dreams, blues, purples, silver threads of dust. Magnetic fields pass through it all, unseen but felt, holding the delicate balance of the cosmic cloud. Particles move along their invisible rails, aligning, spinning, glowing softly with charged energy. You are floating there, between light and silence, feeling the pulse of creation moving through your skin. Each breath feels like starlight entering your lungs, ancient and infinite. Back on Earth, you think of how humans have learned to measure the invisible. We've mapped the field lines, studied their drift, watched auroras shimmer through satellite eyes. Yet even with all our instruments, there remains something mysterious about magnetism. It feels alive, not mechanical, not random, but almost conscious in its movement. A reminder that the universe, for all its physics, still hums with poetry. You imagine holding a magnet in your hand. It looks still, silent, simple. Yet within it, electrons are spinning, creating a field that reaches beyond sight. Two magnets approach each other, and you feel the air resist. Invisible tension, unseen pressure. That is magnetism, the silent language of attraction and repulsion. You realize it exists everywhere, in planets, in stars, in the quiet pull between two people under moonlight. Some philosophers once believed magnetism was a spirit, an invisible life that moved through all things. In a way, they weren't wrong. It is a kind of connection, a hidden conversation between particles and worlds. It binds and repels, organizes and protects. a silent sculptor of everything from atoms to galaxies. You think of it now, not as force, but as harmony. A music that only the universe can hear. As you lie there, eyes half closed, you imagine the magnetic lines flowing through you. They curve gently, weaving through the air, connecting you to the earth below and the stars above. You are suspended between forces, perfectly balanced, part of the same dance that guides comets and tides. Even your thoughts begin to feel magnetic, drawn towards stillness, pulled gently toward peace. You float in that equilibrium, neither rising nor falling, simply resting in the field. Somewhere deep in the planet, the molten iron continues to churn, feeding the shield that cradles life. Above, auroras shimmer like slow, moving dreams, writing color across the cold edge of the atmosphere. And between the two, between Earth's heart and the sun's fire, you exist, humming softly with the field. Your heartbeat syncs with its rhythm, slow and patient, part of an ancient pulse that never stops. You breathe with the planet now, as if its magnetism has entered your very soul. You imagine the field stretching outward, past the clouds, past the moon, past the orbit of satellites. It fades into the solar wind, merging with the interstellar void. There, magnetic fields from other stars begin to intertwine, a cosmic braid of invisible motion. It never truly ends, just drifts farther into the dark, wrapping galaxies together in silent harmony. The universe, it seems, is one endless web of attraction, each point gently pulling on the next. You drift with that thought, your body light as air, your mind as calm as starlight. The world beneath you spins quietly, wrapped in its protective cocoon of invisible grace. Somewhere far above, the auroras whisper across polar skies, painting dreams on the edge of night. The magnetic field hums softly, like a lullaby older than memory, older than words. And you let yourself drift, suspended in its rhythm, floating deeper into the slow, magnetic quiet. You imagine yourself floating through a quiet expanse, where the stars blink like sleepy eyes half closed in thought. Hello there, welcome to the Sleepy Knowledge Channel. You are here to rest, to wander softly through science and dreams, where knowledge hums like a distant lullaby. The night holds you gently, like the ocean holds a drifting leaf. Your breath slows and your mind opens, ready to explore something deep and calm, the mystery of time. You imagine time not as numbers ticking away, but as a river, smooth, endless, and alive. It flows in one direction. Yet every ripple carries the memory of what passed before. You watch it glimmer in the half light, feeling the pull of its current. Every second that passes touches you, moves through you, and then drifts beyond reach. It feels soft, like silk sliding through your fingers. Impossible to hold, yet impossible to escape. Somewhere within your mind, time is not a clock but a rhythm. Your heartbeat, your breath, your thoughts, all pulsing to invisible music. Your brain keeps track of moments without truly counting them, measuring them instead by change and motion. When you close your eyes, the minutes blur and the world seems to slow. You sense how time stretches and shrinks, bending gently around your awareness. You imagine ancient civilizations looking to the sky to measure this unseen flow. The movement of the sun, the shifting constellations, each became a mark upon the cosmic clock. Sundials followed the day, while water clocks and sand timers whispered through the night. Even then, people sensed time as both real and dreamlike, something to honor yet never fully understand. And as you drift in thought, you feel connected to that same human wonder. In your mind, you drift to Einstein's world, where time is not fixed but fluid. He showed that time bends, stretches, and folds in the presence of motion and gravity. You picture space as a vast fabric, smooth and dark, curving under the weight of stars. A clock near a black hole would slow, its seconds crawling like lazy ripples across dense water. While far away, time runs faster, racing lightly through the emptiness between galaxies. You feel this idea in your chest, that time and space are not separate, but one dance. Every movement changes the rhythm, every mass pulls on the flow. You are part of that cosmic choreography, your body made of matter that once moved through ancient stars. Each atom within you carries a memory of time, the age of the universe written quietly in its spin. And for a moment, you sense how vast, how infinite, this unfolding truly is. You think of how your brain experiences time differently depending on your state of mind. When you're focused, it seems to vanish, slipping away like a dream at dawn. When you wait, it drags, heavy and slow, like walking through mist. Your perception of time is elastic, shaped by attention, emotion, and the quiet chemistry of thought. Even in sleep, your mind keeps its own rhythm, measuring dreams in delicate loops. You drift through that thought, that sleep itself alters the river of time. Dreams can make minutes feel like hours, or hours pass in an instant. Neuroscientists say your brain replays and organizes memories, compressing moments into fragments of narrative. Your sense of self floats between what was and what could be, untethered by the usual flow. It's as if the river splits, creating small tributaries of imagined time, each with its own direction. You imagine time deep within your cells. Every heartbeat, every blink, every breath follows a biological rhythm, your own personal clock. Tiny molecular oscillators keep time within you, aligning your body with the turning of the earth. Your circadian rhythm listens to light and darkness, sensing you with sunrise and moonrise. When you close your eyes at night, those ancient internal timers guide your body into rest. Even the planet you rest upon is a timekeeper. It spins, tilts, and wobbles with quiet precision, tracing days and seasons in perfect arcs. The moon circles in steady rhythm, pulling tides and emotions alike. Together, Earth and Moon weave a slow duet of motion, counting days not with numbers, but with gravity. You feel that cycle within you, a silent alignment with something vast and eternal. The stars above you are clocks too, though they measure time in centuries, not seconds. Their light travels across unimaginable distances, carrying messages from the deep past. When you look up, you are seeing history, light that left its source before humans even walked the earth. You realize that to gaze at the night sky is to peer into time itself. Every star is a memory glowing softly, whispering stories from billions of years ago. You imagine drifting near a pulsar, a rapidly spinning neutron star. It emits beams of light like a cosmic lighthouse, perfectly timed, ticking across the galaxy. Astronomers use these pulses to measure the fabric of space, time with exquisite precision. Even in the vast silence of the cosmos, rhythm persists, a heartbeat of the universe itself. You listen, in your imagination, to that slow, steady ticking, echoing through eternity. But on Earth, time feels gentler. You feel it in the slow fading of daylight, the sigh of the wind against your skin. Leaves fall, shadows lengthen, clouds drift, all soft reminders of time's quiet passage. The brain, with all its complexity, transforms these signals into meaning, into the story of a day. And as night deepens, your sense of time softens too, dissolving into something timeless. You wonder if time exists at all without perception. If no mind is there to count, to notice, would moments still pass? Quantum physics whispers that time may be woven from observation itself, a tapestry tied to awareness. The act of noticing might create the flow, giving shape to what would otherwise be still. You imagine your consciousness as a lantern, lighting the river of time wherever it wanders. In deep space, near the edge of a black hole, time behaves differently again. There, gravity becomes so intense that even seconds cannot escape. To an outside observer, everything near the event horizon seems frozen, suspended forever in twilight. But to what falls inward, time feels normal, just faster, pulled toward a point where all timelines meet. It's as if eternity hides inside that darkness, folded neatly into an infinite heartbeat. You drift back from that thought, letting it dissolve like mist. You feel time again as something closer, softer, in the rhythm of your breath. Each inhale a beginning, each exhale an ending, yet both part of one continuous flow. Your body is the clock now, your pulse counting the gentle minutes of rest. There's no need to rush, no need to measure. Time belongs to you in this moment. You imagine the first humans marking days by watching shadows move across stone. They didn't just track time, they communed with it, feeling the cycle of nature in their bones. They lived within the rhythm of sunrise, rain, and harvest, their clocks made of stars and soil. Maybe they understood something we forget, that time isn't separate from life, but the breath of it. And as you rest now, you too return to that ancient understanding. You begin to sense how everything in existence flows together. Atoms, thoughts, galaxies, years. All of it moving through the same river, each ripple touching another endlessly. Perhaps time is not a line at all, but a circle, a quiet repetition of patterns, like waves on a shore, or the pulse of your own heartbeat, repeating yet always new. You feel that rhythm now, gentle, endless, like the soft hum of the cosmos itself. As your body grows heavier, your thoughts drift slower, more liquid. You begin to lose track of moments, of counting, of direction. It's peaceful. This surrender, letting the river carry you where it wishes. You float in it, effortless, surrounded by silence that feels infinite. You are neither in the past nor the future, only here, within the soft breath of now. Somewhere in the distance, stars continue their patient burn. The universe expands, carrying galaxies farther apart, stretching the fabric of space and time. Every heartbeat, every flicker of thought, is a brief spark within that endless unfolding. And yet, even so, you are part of it. Timeless, infinite, drifting quietly through the rhythm of all things. You let yourself breathe with the stars, slow and deep, as time melts gently around you. You lie still, your breath steady, the air cool and quiet around you. Somewhere far above, the earth turns slowly, wrapped in its soft cocoon of clouds. The stars seem motionless, yet everything is in motion. The heavens, the oceans, the air you breathe. The rhythm of day and night continues without pause, a cosmic heartbeat that has never missed a beat. It is ancient, it is constant, and it carries you gently through every moment of your life. You imagine standing on the edge of dawn. The horizon blushes with the first hint of light, pale and delicate. The sun, still hidden, sends its warmth forward like a whisper, touching mountain peaks and ocean waves. The world stirs, not suddenly, but softly, as if waking from a long and peaceful dream. Birds begin their songs in careful harmony, following the rhythm of light's return. This rhythm, this balance between day and night, is the oldest pattern you know. The Earth spins, not too fast, not too slow, completing one rotation every 24 hours. That simple turning shapes every life upon it. Plants open their leaves to the sun. Animals move by the glow of moonlight. And you, too, follow that invisible metronome, your body tuned to its steady, endless cycle. The ancients watched this pattern and built their lives around it. They studied the rising and setting of the sun, the phases of the moon, the slow drift of constellations. Time was not measured by numbers but by shadows, by warmth, by color in the sky. They felt the world breathing, in with daylight, out with nightfall. Each dusk was not an ending but a deep exhale, a return to stillness. As you drift deeper into thought, you picture the Earth as a great, spinning sphere, half bathed in sunlight, half swathed in the calm darkness of space. At this very moment, countless sunrises bloom across the planet, while countless sunsets fade to silver. Each moment is shared. Somewhere, someone begins their day as another closes their eyes. It's a gentle exchange, a perpetual rhythm, woven into the fabric of existence. The balance of night and day is not just poetic, it's biological. Your brain, your skin, even your heartbeat, all respond to light and dark. When morning comes, sunlight touches your eyes, telling your brain to release wakeful chemicals. When darkness falls, melatonin flows through your bloodstream, inviting your body to rest. This perfect rhythm, guided by the heavens, keeps you in harmony with the spinning world. You imagine that delicate connection, how starlight and sunlight influence the tiny rhythms of your cells. Your body is not separate from the cosmos. It listens, always, to the sky's subtle cues. Even when you sleep, your inner clock, your circadian rhythm, keeps the rhythm alive. It whispers to your organs, regulates your temperature, and balances your dreams. It is the pulse of the planet, written quietly within your DNA. You think of the moon, circling faithfully, pulling at oceans and hearts alike. Its presence softens the tides, balances the push and pull of Earth's water and wind. Without that steady companion, our days would be shorter, our nights colder and still. The moon's gravity slows the Earth's spin, just slightly, each year. So gentle, so subtle, yet enough to shape the rhythm of every future dawn. You feel that rhythm in your own breath. Inhale, exhale, a smaller echo of Earth's cosmic turning. Every rise and fall of your chest mirrors sunrise and sunset in miniature. Even as you rest, your lungs mimic the planet's slow rotation. It's as if the universe taught you how to breathe, how to follow its silent dance. You drift further, imagining the line between night and day, the twilight zone. Astronomers call it the terminator, the shifting border that circles Earth endlessly. From space, it looks like a soft blur, a glowing gradient between gold and blue. It moves constantly, tracing the edge of shadow, painting every surface it touches. If you could stand there, you would see the stars above, while daylight glows on the horizon. You picture yourself floating just beyond the clouds, watching continents slide beneath you. One side glittering in daylight, one side glowing faintly in city lights. Rivers gleam like silver threads, mountains cast long shadows, and oceans shimmer with calm reflections. You can almost feel the stillness, the smooth, eternal motion of a world perfectly balanced. You are drifting not just through space, but through time's rhythm, the heartbeat of a planet alive. Every living thing moves to this music. Plants open and close in response to the sun, guided by unseen inner timers. Flowers turn gently to follow light, while nocturnal creatures wake when it fades. Even coral in the deepest oceans knows when the moon is full. Light, in all its forms, choreographs the movements of the natural world. You think of ancient travelers who followed the stars across oceans and deserts. They read the sky like a map, trusting in patterns that never failed. The rhythm of day and night told them when to rest, when to sail, when to seek shelter. In their minds, the heavens were alive. Teachers, guides, and companions. Even now, that same rhythm hums quietly above you, eternal and unchanged. The sun, though constant, is not still. It moves, carrying the solar system with it, like a great lantern drifting through the galaxy. The Earth follows faithfully, spinning and orbiting, caught in its glowing embrace. Night and day are not opposites, but partners, turning endlessly in graceful harmony. You picture them dancing together, light and shadow, entwined across the surface of the world. In this slow rotation, everything is in balance. Without it, the side facing the sun would burn, while the dark half would freeze. The spin keeps warmth moving, keeps life alive, keeps oceans breathing and winds in motion. The tilt of the planet adds seasons, giving rhythm to growth, migration, and renewal. Even stillness depends on motion, the calm we feel born from the dance of celestial balance. You picture the first light of dawn touching the edge of an ocean. Waves glitter, seabirds stir, and the world feels new once again. Somewhere else, across the curve of the earth, twilight falls, and lamps begin to glow. People breathe, hearts beat, dreams begin, all guided by this endless transition. It's a beautiful thought that every moment of your rest creates someone else's awakening. You imagine lying under a forest canopy at dusk. The air cools, the scent of pine deepens, and the sound of distant insects hums. Above, the last light filters through branches, golden and slow. As darkness arrives, the forest changes, alive now with nocturnal whispers. You feel how nature accepts the turning of the earth, not resisting, simply flowing. The rhythm of day and night is the rhythm of life itself. Each rotation gives energy, then takes it back, like waves on a shore. You see how this gentle alternation allows balance, effort and rest, growth and stillness. Without the night, there would be no recovery. Without the day, there would be no awakening, no renewal of light. You think of how this same rhythm beats within stars. They burn, rest, and reignite in cycles far beyond your scale of time. Every sunrise mirrors the birth of a star. Every sunset, its quiet fading. The cosmos breathes through these cycles, repeating them endlessly across infinite space. You are part of that same pattern, a smaller rhythm within the greater song. As you drift further, you sense how fragile, yet perfect, this balance truly is. The tilt, the spin, the orbit, all tuned just right to sustain the world you know. You feel gratitude, a soft awareness of how rare and delicate this harmony is, and how naturally your body understands it, follows it, without you ever asking it to. It's as if the universe built you to match its cadence, heartbeat to heartbeat. You let the image settle, the glowing earth turning beneath the soft light of distant stars. Half in day, half in night, always in motion, always whole. You breathe with it, matching its rotation, feeling its gentle gravity pull you toward calm. You realize you are spinning too, carried effortlessly on this ancient, celestial rhythm. And as you drift deeper into that thought, time itself begins to slow, fading into a steady hush. Hello there, welcome to the Sleepy Knowledge Channel. Tonight, as you rest beneath the quiet dome of the sky, you'll drift through thought and wonder. You'll explore something ancient, invisible, and endlessly mysterious, the way your brain creates dreams. That strange inner theater that plays each night when your eyes close and the world fades. The realm where your memories dissolve into stories, where logic softens and imagination takes the lead. As you breathe slowly, you step toward that world, gentle and glowing at the edges of consciousness. You imagine your brain as a vast night ocean. Each thought is a ripple, each dream a current flowing beneath the surface of awareness. As you drift, your body lies still, yet your mind travels miles in moments. Waves of electrical energy roll through the folds of your sleeping brain, slow at first, then rising. They carry fragments of your day, colors, sounds, emotions. and scatter them into the twilight sea. Deep within, the rhythm of sleep begins its quiet transformation. Your brain, which buzzed with daylight chatter, now hums in softer tones. Neurons fire like distant lightning, sparking random flashes of images and sensations. It is from this silent storm that dreams are born, not from logic, but from the poetry of the mind. You can almost feel it happening, the gentle weaving of stories beneath the calm surface of sleep. You drift deeper, crossing from light sleep into a dream, rich world called REM. Your eyes move rapidly beneath your lids, though your body lies still, safely paralyzed by the brain. It's a clever safeguard, keeping you from acting out the scenes unfolding within. Your breathing quickens. Your heart follows the rhythm of your dreams, pulsing with quiet excitement. This is when imagination blooms at full strength. Unbound by reason or gravity or time, you see yourself walking through a forest that glows softly in the moonlight. The trees shimmer as though made of glass, their branches humming with faint electric light. A path unfolds beneath your feet, winding endlessly through the quiet woods. You feel both calm and curious, aware that this place is yours, shaped by your own inner sky. You walk, and though you know it isn't real, it feels more real than memory. Dreams often borrow pieces from your waking life. Faces, places, sounds, emotions. Your brain doesn't create new materials. It rearranges what you've already gathered. It blends a memory from childhood with a sound from this morning and a feeling from years ago. It stitches them together, seamlessly, into something that feels familiar and strange at once. Each night, your mind becomes both artist and architect, creating entire worlds while you rest. Scientists believe dreams help you process emotions and organize your thoughts. It's as if your brain uses this time to clean the shelves, rearrange the clutter, and file away meaning. You relive moments not to repeat them, but to understand them more deeply. A conversation, a smile. Even a fleeting fear may resurface in strange, symbolic forms. You may not recognize the message, but your mind knows what it's doing. It's healing itself. You imagine the hippocampus, that tiny seahorse-shaped part of your brain, glowing quietly. It sorts through memories, deciding what to keep and what to let drift away. Neurons spark and whisper, forming new pathways that strengthen the lessons of the day. Each dream is part of that maintenance, an elegant cleaning cycle that restores balance. Your sleeping brain is not resting. It's busy polishing the mind's inner mirrors. Sometimes dreams feel emotional, overwhelming, joyful, or filled with longing. That's because your amygdala, the emotion center, remains active during REM sleep. It paints feelings vividly, coloring your dreamscapes with shades of nostalgia or excitement. Even fear can enter the canvas, but within dreams, it often softens and fades. You might wake with a heartbeat still racing, but the edges of fear blur, leaving only curiosity. You drift through another dream, this one unfolding beneath a sky of swirling stars. You float upward, weightless, each constellation pulsing gently, like a heartbeat in the heavens. Your hands move through the air, as though through water, smooth and slow. Somewhere, you know none of this obeys the laws of waking physics. But you also know that dreams are not bound by gravity. They follow the flow of thought. There's a special beauty in how the mind mixes impossible things. You might breathe underwater, walk through walls, or fly above oceans made of light. Your brain doesn't question the logic. It's exploring possibility without limits. This freedom is essential, scientists think, to creativity and problem solving. The dreaming mind rehearses, experiments, and invents, all while the body lies perfectly still. You imagine your brain as a symphony, each region an instrument in perfect timing. The visual cortex paints images, the limbic system supplies emotion, and the frontal lobes rest. The conductor, your subconscious, waves its invisible baton, guiding the orchestra through a shifting melody. Some notes are clear, others dissolve into static, yet together they create a kind of cosmic harmony. Each dream is a performance that will never happen the same way again. Even when you forget your dreams, they leave quiet traces behind. A mood, a sudden inspiration, a feeling you can't explain. It's as if the mind hides small messages within your morning thoughts. You might wake with new clarity, or an answer to a question you didn't know you were asking. Dreams don't just entertain. They whisper solutions. They unlock imagination. They refresh your soul. There are nights when dreams seem endless, layered like reflections in rippling water. One dream folds into another, changing without warning. You walk through a door and find yourself somewhere entirely new. This fluidity mirrors how the brain connects ideas, not by boundaries, but by flow. Thought becomes memory, memory becomes image. Image becomes story, all within seconds. You think about lucid dreams, those rare moments when awareness flickers on inside the dream. You realize you're dreaming, yet the dream continues, now guided by your intent. You can shape the scene, fly, swim through air, or simply watch as the world bends to your will. In those moments, you are both participant and creator, the observer and the dream itself. It's a fragile balance, like walking on water, easily broken by excitement or fear. Science still doesn't fully understand why some dreams are vivid while others fade instantly. The prefrontal cortex, where logic and memory live, goes quiet during REM. That silence lets dreams flow freely, but also keeps them fleeting once you wake. You open your eyes, and the dream evaporates like mist touched by sunlight. What remains is only the feeling, the gentle residue of another world. You picture ancient humans dreaming beneath open skies, their fires flickering low. Before written language, dreams were the first stories, the original myths of the night. They imagined spirits, gods, and visions, all born from the theater of sleep. Those dreams shaped beliefs, guided journeys, inspired songs and rituals under the stars. In a way, humanity has always been guided by what the mind creates in darkness. As you lie here, your own dreams wait quietly beyond the veil of waking. Your brain prepares to drift into its nightly voyage, rewiring itself with the language of symbols. You feel the shift beginning, that soft hum between thought and nothingness. Your breathing slows, your muscles release. Your awareness begins to blur. You are standing at the shoreline of sleep, where the waves of dreamlight are beginning to rise. You imagine the neurons in your brain like stars, firing one after another in constellations of thought. Each spark connects to another, forming patterns too complex to ever fully see. They flicker in rhythm, building images, sensations, and emotions from pure electricity. It's as if the universe itself is dreaming through you, a single consciousness among billions. Your mind becomes a galaxy of light, infinite and alive, pulsing in quiet harmony. You drift even deeper, beyond the stage of vivid dreams, into the stillness of slow, wave sleep. Here, the waves in your brain stretch wide and slow, like tides beneath a calm sea. This is the most restorative part of the night, where your body heals, cells renew, and memory stabilizes. Your heart beats with deep steadiness, your breath smooth as silk. You have crossed into the sacred space between being and nothingness, the cradle of renewal. As the night continues, you'll move in gentle cycles, from light sleep to deep, from deep to dream. Each round shapes your brain's health, your mood, your creativity. It is nature's rhythm, older than humanity, written in the stars and cells alike. You are not separate from it. You are part of its music, a note in its vast melody. You drift, suspended in that quiet current, carried softly by the endless rhythm of dreams. Hello there. Welcome to the Sleepy Knowledge Channel. Tonight, as you rest beneath the quiet hum of the world, you'll drift through thought and wonder. You'll explore something ancient, mysterious, and beautifully fragile. The way the human brain stores memories. That delicate process by which moments, sensations, and feelings become part of who you are. As you breathe softly, your mind begins to replay fragments of your day, arranging them in patterns unseen. You feel them settling like grains of sand beneath calm water. Drifting, resting, finding their place. You imagine your brain as a vast library at twilight. The shelves stretch endlessly, filled with glowing books of light and sound. Each one holds a moment you've lived, a smile, a whisper, a heartbeat. Some are clear and bright, others are faded at the edges, like dreams dissolving with dawn. You walk quietly between the aisles, feeling the hum of stored time around you. Inside that library, a small region deep within your brain becomes your guide. It's called the hippocampus, shaped like a seahorse, shimmering in gentle waves of electrical rhythm. Each night it collects fragments from your waking hours. The sights, words, and emotions you've experienced. It decides which pieces to keep, which to let drift away into the background of forgetfulness. It's both a guardian and a sculptor, shaping the story of who you are. When you sleep, this tiny seahorse works tirelessly beneath the calm surface of your mind. It replays the day's events in quiet repetition, strengthening the neural bridges between memories. Each repetition lays another thread, weaving fragile connections into something more permanent. It's as though your brain is whispering to itself, softly reminding, remember this mattered. You can almost sense the rhythm of that invisible conversation, slow and steady as a heartbeat. Not all memories stay. Some dissolve like mist, their edges too faint to hold. The brain is selective. Not everything needs to remain. You forget to make space for new understanding, just as a forest sheds leaves for new growth. In this balance between remembering and forgetting, your mind keeps itself alive and adaptable. As you drift deeper, you picture your memories glowing within your brain like constellations. Each star a thought, each line a connection drawn by experience. Some constellations are ancient, made in childhood, while others form freshly each day. They flicker and shift as neurons exchange electric whispers across microscopic gaps. Every second, those gaps, called synapses, pulse with messages that shape your inner universe. You imagine those synapses glowing like bioluminescent plankton in a midnight sea. Tiny sparks shimmer and fade, illuminating trails of thought through the dark waters of your mind. The hippocampus sends signals to the cortex, where long-term memories settle like shells in deep sand. There, they rest quietly, waiting to be found again. A sound, a smell, a word can awaken them. Each time you recall a memory, you don't simply revisit it. You reshape it ever so slightly. Memory isn't a perfect recording. It's a living creation. Each recall paints over old strokes, blending new emotion with old imagery. You might remember a place brighter than it was, a laugh louder, or a moment softer. The mind edits not to deceive, but to harmonize experience with meaning. In this way, memory becomes less about the past and more about the story you tell yourself. Even your senses have their own kind of memory. Your nose remembers scents before your conscious mind does. The faint trace of rain on earth. Your hands remember the weight of familiar objects. even without thought. Your muscles hold echoes of motion, the rhythm of walking, the pattern of writing, the balance of movement. These are called procedural memories, hidden in the depths of your cerebellum and basal ganglia. As you drift, your mind hums with the quiet work of integration. The hippocampus hands off its stories to the neocortex, layer by layer. They're woven into the grand tapestry of your personal history. It's not stored as a single file, but scattered. Sights in one area, emotions in another, sounds elsewhere. When you remember, your brain gathers these fragments and lights them up in perfect synchrony. Sometimes, you find yourself remembering without effort. A melody hums from nowhere, or a smell awakens a memory long buried. This is because the amygdala, your emotional center, tags certain memories with feeling. Emotion makes memory vibrant. It tells the brain, this matters. Keep this safe. That's why the happiest and the hardest moments linger longest. They carry the weight of meaning. You drift deeper, and your mind wanders to childhood memories. The sound of laughter echoing in an old room, sunlight on a familiar floor. You feel them, not as exact scenes, but as sensations. The warmth, the safety, the rhythm. Your brain has preserved not just images, but the emotional fingerprints that defined those moments. Each one a whisper from your younger self, still alive within the folds of your mind. Neuroscientists call this emotional memory, and it is timeless. It's why music can bring tears before words can explain why. Why a certain place can feel sacred, even if you haven't been there in years. These memories bypass logic, traveling straight through the deeper rivers of feeling. They remind you that memory is not only data. It is experience, emotion, and connection intertwined. You imagine your brain as a glowing forest, its trees growing in every direction. Each branch is a thought, each leaf a connection, shimmering faintly under an unseen moon. When you learn something new, a small spark ignites among the roots, spreading upward in delicate lines. The branches strengthen with repetition, forming pathways you can return to again and again. This is neuroplasticity, your brain's quiet, miraculous ability to grow and adapt endlessly. Even now, as you rest, new connections form in silence. Your sleeping brain continues to strengthen what you practiced, refine what you learned. The hippocampus replays the day like a musician rehearsing a melody. Over time, those notes become part of the symphony that defines your inner self. You are not static. Even in sleep, you are being quietly rewritten, refined, renewed. Sometimes memories fade not because they are lost, but because they are stored deeper than recall. They rest beneath awareness, shaping intuition, behavior, and feeling without needing to surface. You might forget the words someone spoke, but still feel their kindness years later. Your brain remembers patterns of comfort, tone, and warmth beyond language. This is implicit memory, the soft, unseen current that shapes who you've become. You think of the way your brain balances remembering and forgetting. Too much memory would overwhelm you, too little would leave you untethered. So it keeps what's needed, letting the rest drift away like petals on a quiet stream. This constant renewal allows you to evolve, to carry only what still serves your path. Even forgetting in its own way is an act of peace. As you breathe slowly, you can almost hear the hum of those neural circuits. Tiny electrical waves flow like wind through tall grass, rustling softly with meaning. The hippocampus flickers, the cortex receives, the amygdala whispers emotion into every signal. Together, they form the quiet choir of your mind, unseen, eternal, and beautifully alive. Each thought, each memory, each feeling, part of a song that only you can hear. You drift into the idea that memory itself might be a form of dreaming. Your waking life blends into the dreamscape, reshaping itself each time you recall. Perhaps memory is not about keeping the past, but keeping the feeling of being alive. Each recollection a spark, reminding you that you've lived, learned, and loved through time. You realize the mind doesn't simply remember life, it continually recreates it. Now, your body is still, your breath slow and even. The library within your skull is glowing softly, shelves rearranging in quiet precision. Your neurons hum in perfect rhythm, exchanging whispers across the electric dark. Outside, the night continues, stars pulsing in their own cosmic memory above you. As you drift deeper, your brain drifts too, recording, repairing, remembering, and dreaming all at once.